The company obviously has a legacy of some close to 86 years. Anybody in construction here? That is construction company? How old are your accountants? Thank you very much for perspective. 89, 60, 50 years. Right, so we're talking about mature companies, aren't we? You survived because you got some critical practices that have actually undergirded your success. So the question is, why would you want to change success? Someone says, right, yes, the industry's changing, and what was good yesterday is no longer good for today. And so let's just say, the company has evolved over the period of time. I imagine that in representing Bob, I have never seen a more innovative person in my life in the construction industry. He has several businesses. He has an incubator for ingenuity. Right? He's got several patented products that he's been working on. So it's an inquisitive nature, right, to what's sustainable in the future that got him hooked. And so when I received that call, it was simply saying, are you interested in helping me find this journey? And so we'll go down to Cal Poly, we do some classes down there and get your team there so that, at least you get an introduction to the concept. And then the rest is history a little bit, because at the end of that little audit session, strategic session, I had a job. That kind of stuff. Let me say what jobs are. My job is always focused in transformation change. That was contractor, whether I worked for Chevron, right? And even within Chevron, it was always an episode of where we were transforming some component of the company and making it more sustainable. Well, by the time I retired, I was done. Transformation. A little fatigued on it, right? So when I got that call, I was not ready for it. Anyway, so this was a wake-up call, and let me finish that thought so you land and I can move on. There's someone yesterday from Exxon, a retired guy, that sat there in a training session and says, Wayne, he says, I looked at my peers who are retired. I realized that they're dying because they don't have an inquisitiveness of what to learn. What a provocative thing, right? So it just reinforced why I'm signed up on this. It's very frustrating, by the way. This is a list of the customers, very traditional owners who are doing advanced work today, certainly with cancer research and with COVID and the innovative diseases. There's always an innovation part in a big part of the world. So this is the host of customers that can work for. At the end of that session with Todd, and by the way, you haven't really got the full treatment of Todd unless you've been told off. So I really want you to test this patient so he can tell you off good, right? I've had a series of being told off in my journey since meeting this particular champion in 2013, 2012. So I've enjoyed it every way, and I've been a different person. I'm still learning, by the way. I know everything. This is the result of that strategic session with the determination that Vinsky was going to be the company that changed the way the world builds. Pretty audacious, right? So what did that mean? Well, you can read this, and you should actually review it. We focused on a current situation that we can embrace. It says our planning is not connected to what nothing. I sound very familiar to everybody in the room. So what did we do, right? And you've heard about how do you structure a production system to be more resilient, like the Nebuchadnezzar, to navigate the matrix. Well, you don't navigate the matrix, you invade the matrix. And yet finally you find a champion that can implode the matrix because that system needs to go down. I'm going to share that it's so different to a special contract. What I appeal is to those others in the room. Here's a story of a specialty contractor that wants to make a difference. And he's fighting through the matrix, and it's going to be a little bit of a cry for help. I need some support out there to help you make this journey. I flipped it when I was first speaking to the Besky team, I said, it's astonishing that your CTO has a vision such as the one he's declared. Says at Chevron, we're desperate to find contractors that would have a clue. And I'm not talking about, construction managers. I'm talking about the guys that do the work, actually do physical work. Those specialists out there that I know are out there doing the work today, but they're gummed up in the matrix and they're not seen or invisible to it. So we actually talked about how do we make the work a central thing in this transition. We're not focused on building on them, you won't make a difference. So I'm going to share, just quickly go through some what we did. As far as deployments, some are good, some are instructive. Amy, we'd learned a lot how to do that. I'll talk about number one. I'll have Bob talk about the production system optimization, and I'll fill in the rest of the color commentary. By the way, do I need to explain the throughput and this meta level production system? Pretty self-evident, right? You get an opportunity, you need to design what parameters that opportunity is, you need to build the widgets, the material that associated with it, and you need to install that, right? You need to commission it at the end of it. Pretty straightforward. Of course, simplicity is the curse to complexity. Everybody's been saying, don't avoid complexity, make it visible. I said this in my first PPI symposium. If you try to simplify complexity, you come up with something more profound, which is simplexity, which is worse than what you're starting out with. Right? So make complexity visible. You can't control what's not visible. Okay. So we try to make it visible at the meta level. This excursus on number one was a passion that Bob had about designing product and designing process. It had unintended consequences relative to the pace of deployment of this PPI, but I want to uphold the passion he had. The guys in the room here know how to productize a project. Right? Know how to standardize, how to optimize those standards in a way that's repeatable, right? By design. Bob's all enamored with that. He's an inventor. And so he wanted to get to how do I productize my project in the form of spools and racks and connectors, piece of equipment, so I could actually have a library of the bill of processes to actually be the script that we could model and run out there. He's a very fast and aggressive thinker. Right? You'll attest to that. So for an individual, right, this is a change leadership moment here. So you need good leadership in order to affect change, correct? But you also need structure and process, along with people, to be enrolled so that you end up in something that people have actually conformed to the discipline that technology allows, right? So we're working in a different environment that have trained ability to do about, right? So anyway, I'm talking to you long that the preacher kicked in and I apologize. So
it's really quick. I was just going to comment that Gary did want to hook you up to the electrical shock thing. We thought that wouldn't be appropriate. I said that was used quite often to do Chevron.
Well, I was introduced to shock too late. So that's it. I'll just say the unintended consequence was of this design systems that we're working in. No apologies to Advanced Work Plan. I actually advocated to Bob. There's a school of practice out there called AWP, Installation Work Package, as a part of it. I think you benefit from that. You're wasting my time. I'm trying to stand up the production system, which will enable packages that don't get the cart before the horse. In fact, it was one of those shock moments. This is good New Jersey Italian intervention. We had a head-to-head on that. I'd reached a real serious juncture. So I can't continue doing this. Your mental model is not similar to what we're trying to do. Either take that model and read it and disband it for what I want to offer, or, start thinking in terms of what we're really trying to do here relative to production control, which is where I was focused at the time. Anyway, but look, some good things have happened with this, right? Does you have a better understanding of how to design and engineer this schools? Yes. Is that improving? Yes, right? Production packaging was a derivative of that, right? How do I package what we've designed? And so there's a team that's working on that. And yes, we're getting better at understanding packaging, by the way, Fernando. And there's always some way that you need to convey material to the people, right? I'd always say you can't do that. But is it synchronized to the cadence of what's happening in the field? And by the way, you can always pick up the difference in the rate from a construction rate of flows work, which creates the demand for the material, and the rate of supply at fabrication, for example, that actually creates the supply. You know, we kept talking about how do you create reliability on either one of those, right? So is it PPC, project production control, we'll start establishing the reliability of the field, and as we get that, we'll start developing reliability in fabrication from detail. All right, now Bob Jr., who's just completed the inventory control system and has a real passion for systems, software systems. Well, tell us how you got engaged and what you're learning.
Yeah, thanks, Lang. Appreciate it. So third generation contractor, what that means is growing up, all my toys were construction trucks and plastic hammers. But in all seriousness, I got a call after I finished my graduate education from my dad. And we're moving to a new fabrication facility. We had previously a few style of fabrication shops that just had a ton of variability, all had different managers. Everybody was putting in their own little buffer time to make sure they weren't getting yelled at from the PMs out in the field. So we went and brought all those shops together into a single fabrication facility. So to practice that, I got a call one day, and he's like, "Oh, RB, I'm walking around the shop. Pardon my friends. There's shit everywhere. We got stuff all over the ground. There's pipes everywhere. We got to take care of this. We got to figure it out." So he brought me on initially to go and develop an inventory module to really start, start pulling that lever of inventory, right? And start to take control of our production process here. Okay. So that was our initial phase. Overall, relatively successful. We've have been able to go and pretty much create our own SKU system in our own database and really solve the problem from field requests to actually receive from the shop. So in the past, it was everybody's writing on napkins and phone calls, but we've been able to use a full digital system of that regarding that to improve productivity. So a few months later, I go and I get another call, and I'm like, you see what you guys are doing? We're not producing. There's no standardization. Everybody's speaking custom products. They go and everybody says everything's uniform. Well, that's not true. We pretty much made 90% of the same stuff all the time. But if we treat our job shop like a true job shop and we're just engineering to order every single item, there's no way to improve productivity on that. So I went in and I started working with SDS and with the chat here to really start mapping our fabrication facility. Currently, that is still in process. And one of the issues that we really ran into was that everybody is still treating everything like a unicorn. So through packaging and through design assist, we're currently in the process and trying to optimize all of our schools and create these Binsky products that we make and really change that mentality from the shop floor from essentially they consider themselves a separate job site to an actual manufacturing facility. So
very good. My feedback on I've never met a young man who's been as fast of a learn and software modeling. And then you've been involved in production control as well. So I'm very impressed with the capability that Bob has developed in a very short period of time. So we have a better visual of what is going to be needed from a capacity level to meet the need of the fan field. I'm just going to close up real quick. Production control was also an experiment. We weren't too sure where to start the application of the PPM tool set, the 511s, right? Where, is it inventory control or is it, the variability, right? We kind of stood up in, supply flow control thinking that would be it, but we were stuck with a real issue in the projects we face, which is called a coordination or coordination role, which meant you couldn't advance any detail engineering until everyone agreed on the project. Well, by the time they were agreeing to that, it was too late for the lead time associated with what we needed to spool up in order to get the material to the field, right? So that really didn't help us so quick. We're still working on that. We have some ideas of that. But we said, production control, let's get into the actual physical control of variability in the field. This has also had mixed results related to some mental models, right? For example, we were getting visibility to the allocation of capacity. Had a good player, everybody agreed. We had visibility to, hey, we have values assigned to work, but we could connect that production work to a milestone because there were no milestones that were actually real on the project, even from the project construction side. And so we had to look at, well, how do we extend out the work and the production sequence in the field? Because you actually design, if you've got 1,000 trembles to set with your tremble machine, and you have 900 of them on a floor, what's your rate of installation of the tremble before you place the hangers, right? Well, so start thinking about how do you extend that out so you're starting to get a rate of installation, and then create a milestone as to what you may want to complete for the rough ends on a full basis if you're on several floors. Today, we've got some additional assistants who actually Robinson are involved in that, where we do have a production schedule at Rutgers. We do have some milestones at Rutgers. We do have a cadence, so we're starting to develop some of the root causes for what's interrupting the project. And I know my part is that. So one thing that we learned, right? James has interrupted my pace upon it. I put all of it. So we had a guy that said, you know what? I think you're all bullshit, excuse my French joining it. But I'll sign up. And I'll be the first one to tell you this bullshit. He was the first sign up on a superintendent that started saying, come and show me. I worked in his office, we mapped out. He says, don't go too fast. I just want to map one process. We actually mapped the tremble process. Okay? And you got the tremble gal that did do the work. It says, tell me now what your steps are, and let's map it out there. Well, he's been doing that for the last, I think it's spaced out at 15 months. And he's starting to advance, and he's got his team now with his sub-foreman involved with the production schedule meetings on a daily and a weekly basis. So we're starting to make progress. Have we achieved what we want? I'm just going to share it. We have this, we've discovered improvements in those categories. I'm just going to move on quickly. No surprise on the early, we're working the matrix. The industry norms are a very clear challenge. I want to say something about change management.
If there's something I can add on that, echo. Yeah, within the, so I've been moved to do a lot of implementation in the field. And to kind of echo what you were saying earlier, Roberto, it's really not the people in the field that are super opposed to embracing these changes. But what I've found is they really just want to win. So if this is how they're going to win and beat everybody else, they're very open to embracing it. It's really the middle manager, the PMs, and that administrative body that has a much more difficult time of putting your head down, getting to work, and really adopting these ideas. So that is my own personal experience with mapping RX of change management.
That's good. That's very good. So, yeah, right. So these guys are very avid about, in fact, several of the superintendents would love to meet they think that they can actually resist the oppressive nature of his learning. Simple. All right. Look, we're convinced of the benefit. I was telegraphing Bob here. He is so passionate about making a difference. He believes that I will tell one story on a design at early, design, early opportunity to design product and project. There was over $20 million identified savings for this particular project. Right? For example, if you got a trimble, want to get your trimble done on the deck before you pour concrete. Insert them so you only have to screw them up there for shipping and drilling. That's a big saving. That was about a few $1 million savings. One was the configuration of the core and setting up racks that could be prefab and assembled in the core because it's simply elevated in place where you stood the branches. For $20 million. Well, guess what happened? They decided to take those ideas and do it themselves with others. I'm just telling you that good people with good ideas need to be protected in partnerships, not in a hierarchical matrix, but in a variety of partners that say, yes, that's valuable. How do we use you and leverage that value to get you part of our team? That's my appeal. I don't think you get all complex of that. Well, we are a matrix organization. I'll show you a graphic on that. We are technology focused. We are searching for early integration and involvement. And you'll say, Wayne, this is a simple thing that to learn, but it's the hardest thing. And everybody echo that sentiment. It truly is difficult. And the strain and stress of that as that lone ninja or whatever is difficult to actually, to be resilient from that is the challenge. This is his matrix. He has a vision. Every project goes through this matrix. It's a matrix organization that everyone has a touch on the final result, right? And so his staffing is organized around this matrix. Someone in sales is actually thinking in terms of what customer should we have? Are we there yet? No, there's a customer journey to make that migration. You want anything else to say on this? I'm happy to have. Ooh, that's a taller. And if I was he, he'd make apology not doing it himself. And thank you for still pressing on, guys. That's it.
Are there any questions, or do we have time, or he probably does?
Just a good question.
So great to see somebody moving forward. Great to see another ninja. Are you taking most of the risk for doing this on your jobs, or have you got owners supporting you from the studio?
That's a great question. Thus far, we have not developed a situation where the owners will dissipate. We're not in a position to actually ask that question yet. But we're still working through the evidence. Okay? And pioneer students. I figured we added that.
Yeah, I got a great question. Great presentation. I got a question. All right. I think it'll be a great question. I don't know.
Let you know.
But, part of knowledge is that do work with lean. I have a lot of experience in there. And one of the things I feel for with subcontractors is that, hey, if you're on a IPD, the behavior's different. But a lot of your jobs, I don't know, you can answer this, may not be IPD. And so the fact that all those projects work really well until you get to the field and electrical is throwing something at you, or fire protection is throwing something at you, or gee, a wall's up. So what I'd like to know is how are you saying your ability to influence by bringing forth, what you do and help and trying to clear the deck before it becomes a problem?
Now you're looking at it, so that it's a
Thank you. Yeah, so, right now we're still in early implementation of PBC on our jobs. And what we've really found is that we've been able to claw back some mandates just through early implementation, holding those daily planning meetings and going and building out that production schedule. So in regard to really holding other subcontractors accountable, what this is hopefully will let us do is to be able to go to the GM or the GC or the CM and take it to the reason that we're behind is close up this area to where this is part of your production schedule, and it's just you're not going to hit those dates, right? So that's what needs to happen. So not yet, but hopefully that's the goal. Yeah, exactly.
It's good. Two other comments. We work in a situation where the culture is about planning, tactically run it. So there's some effort around the CF of that coordination, but it's not addressing synchronizational work with all trades mesh new to work. That's the challenge. Last time we did have an opportunity in that design assist situation with a CF, which at this stage was a lost opportunity, where the introduction of a production control on behalf of the CF for all trains was actually proposed. So the discussions have been made. The occupies not there yet, but we're working.
All right,
Yep.
catch you at lunch. You got more questions, please? Give me.
Thank you very much.